I've been traveling for over 13 years and I know that the cost of airfare is often one of the most expensive parts of planning a trip. But it doesn't have to be if you utilize the strategies I'm going to share with you today. Now, some of these tips aren't going to work for everybody, but if you are willing to put in a bit of time, you could save hundreds of dollars on your travels. If you're traveling as a couple or as a group, see what the cost of a single seat is compared to when you have multiple seats selected. Now, airlines have something called fare buckets, which are groups of seats at different prices depending on whether or not certain perks are included. These perks are things like having refundable tickets or having checked luggage and seat selections included in your ticket price. When multiple seats are booked on the same itinerary, they usually try to put everybody in the same fare bucket, which may bump you into a group of more expensive tickets if there isn't enough room for all of you in the cheaper fare bucket. For example, if you're booking as a couple, the search engine might show you 2 tickets at $800 each. But there's actually 1 seat left in the cheaper fare bucket, which is only $700 for the seat. Now, if you purchase your 2 seats separately, you can buy one of your tickets from that cheaper fare bucket and then save yourself $100. The best time to book. A quick guideline would be to book your domestic flights at least 1 month before your departure date and 2 months before an international flight. Booking your flights 6 months to a year in advance can be better, but not always. Now, flights generally get more expensive as seats sell and as the dates get closer, especially once you're in that 3-week window. Airlines know that last-minute purchases are usually done by business travelers, where the tickets are being expensed to the company, or spontaneous vacationers who are less concerned about savings, so they can get away with jacking up prices, especially if it's on a popular route. Now, some common advice that you'll see is that it's cheaper to buy your tickets on certain days of the week. A previous study by Google Flights said that Tuesday and Wednesday were the cheapest, while a recent study by Expedia found that Sunday was the cheapest day to purchase your airfare. But the reality is that there is no exact science to which day of the week will be cheapest, and there's no consistency to it. These days, the cost of airfare is managed by complex algorithms with many different variables, and when a good deal pops up, it will usually only last for a day or so before it's gone or sold out. So your best bet is to just regularly keep an eye on those deals as they get released. Midweek days like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are often the cheapest days to fly, and Fridays and Saturdays are going to be generally the most expensive. It's a simple case of supply and demand. Everyone wants to maximize their vacation days by flying out on a Friday after their last day of work and coming home on a Sunday before they have to go back. Now, I like to use the calendar view on whichever booking platform I'm using. Sometimes you can save a few $100s just by shifting your whole vacation a few days sooner or later. Now, flight comparison websites such as Kayak, Skyscanner, Momondo, and Google Flights are all actually just aggregators. Now, these are sites that don't actually book you tickets, but instead search dozens of booking engines, airfare sites, and online travel agencies and compile the results in a single place. They'll then show you the various different flights and you'll click on it and it will take you to those sites. Now, each flight comparison website is only as good as the sites that they are kind of aggregating. That's why you can get different results from using different flight comparison websites. And don't forget to check the prices on mobile apps, as sometimes websites will offer better prices to people who use their apps. Now, the more booking services you use as a comparison and the more often you check, the more likely you are to find the best deal. If your trip involves any long haul flights, such as, crossing an ocean, so sometimes choosing a bigger hub that's somewhat close to where you want to go can give you the cheaper long haul flight option. This can be because a lot of times you're taking a major carrier with your long haul flight, and when you book the ticket altogether, they're going to want to keep you in the same airline alliance or within the same carrier. So your selection is going to be a lot more limited with those connecting flights versus if you booked your connecting flights separately, because now you've opened up all of the budget airlines that are not connected with the alliances that they wouldn't book you on, that you can mix and match and find whatever is the cheapest flight that way. Now, yes, it can be risky if your earlier flights are delayed or canceled, and it's going to take you a little bit more time. There's going to be more logistics involved. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy 2 one-way tickets instead of buying a round-trip airfare. Other times, it's more expensive. There's really no rule of thumb when it comes to this. All you can do is try searching for both options and then do your own comparison. Now, a common tip is to search for your flights in incognito mode. The idea is that websites use cookies to track your browsing to know which flights you are shopping for. If you keep searching for the same flights, you might notice that the price goes up because they know you're obviously interested in it. Therefore, they can squeeze a few extra dollars out of you and make it seem like you need to book right now before it goes up even more. That being said, based on the amount of variables involved with ticket pricing, it's hard to find real evidence that these websites are actually modifying their prices based on these cookie tracking tactics. But I would still just use incognito mode anyway, since it doesn't take any more time or effort to do so. Now, if you're finding these tips helpful and you want to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and check out my How to Travel ebook, which is over 259 pages of tips and travel hacks just like this video. It covers everything you need to know for planning, booking, and packing, as well as advice for when you're actually on your trip. And right now it's at an all-time low price, so check out the link in the description. If you are interested in a particular flight, many websites will allow you to set up a price alert, so you'll get notified whenever the price changes. Plus, some sites actually allow you to see how that fare fluctuates over time. And if there does happen to be a significant price drop, you'll get notified immediately so you could buy your seat before it sells out. This is probably the best way to get the cheapest flight on a route that you are not as flexible on. Set your alerts and just wait. This is why I love the everywhere search that Skyscanner and Flights from Google has, which gives you all of the flight options that depart from your selected airport. Now, I've booked trips in the past simply by looking at the map and picking out a super cheap flight to somewhere that looks interesting. We did this with our trip to northern Spain. I had never heard of Asturias before, but the price was right, and it ended up being an amazing trip that surprised me in so many ways. Now, I kind of touched on this in the beginning about picking out different airports if you're doing long haul flights, but you can do this with any flight. And that is just to consider flying into a nearby airport instead of your main destination. For example, landing in Fort Lauderdale instead of Miami. And oftentimes the budget airlines with the cheapest tickets will fly into those smaller secondary airports. This is the case in London, where Heathrow is the largest airport, but Gatwick and Stansted have more low-cost carriers. Just don't forget to consider how far away this alternative airport is and how much it's going to cost to find transportation to get to your final destination. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you can shift your travel dates by even a day or two, it could lead to significant savings. Avoid flying around the holidays if you can, as you know, these are some of the most expensive times to fly, unless of course you are flying on the actual holiday, because flying on Christmas Day will likely be so much cheaper than the days before and after. This is of course because, no one actually wants to fly on Christmas Day. Flexibility on your dates and destinations are some of the most effective ways to save money on flights. Frequent flyer miles or points are great for discounted and free tickets, if you can accrue enough points. They're usually free to join, so there's no real reason not to sign up if you are trying to maximize your savings. The only thing I'd say is that you usually have to take quite a few flights before you start to see meaningful benefits. So if you only fly once or twice per year, you aren't likely to see much in the way of savings. And it's best if you stick to one of the 3 main airline alliances: Star Alliance, Oneworld, or SkyTeam. Pick whichever is the airline you fly most often from your home airport, and then just figure out what alliance they're part of and go all in on that. All the credit cards that I use are linked to my preferred airline rewards program, so I'm accruing points in the same account whether I fly for my points or I'm spending it on my credit card. This is one of the best ways to get free flights. The key is to use these credit cards for all of your regular purchases and to see if you can even use it for your monthly payments such as rent, utilities, or even your phone bill. You're already spending this money, so you might as well put it on a credit card that gains you rewards instead of your debit card, which gives you nothing. Now, it is absolutely crucial that you only do this if you are responsible with your spending habits and that you actually pay off your balance before accruing interest. Because if you're carrying a balance on your credit card month to month and ranking up interest, it will more than offset any rewards that you might be gaining. This is the process of maximizing credit card points by signing up for many different cards and getting the most reward points out of each card while paying the lowest amount of fees. Many travel credit cards will have welcome bonuses that will give you a bunch of points just for signing up, and will offer higher reward points for certain types of purchases. So this means that you might be juggling many different cards and making sure that you use the right card for each different purchase. Now, this tactic isn't for everybody. There are a lot of little nuances involved and a lot of logistics that you have to kind of keep track of. But there is a whole world of travel hacking out there, and you can definitely save some serious money, not only on your flights, but also on hotels as well. To get the cheapest airfare, you have to constantly be scouring the web for new deals that pop up. And not everybody wants to do that or has the time to do that. This is where newsletters and paid subscriptions come in. There are plenty of free newsletters out there which will send you regular emails filled with current deals. Just search for the ones that are local to the airport you fly out of. If you're from the US and you don't want to be searching yourself, you can sign up for some paid services such as Fairdrop or Going.com, which used to be Scotch Cheap Flights. These websites employ algorithms and teams of people to scour the web for the lowest prices on flights and notify you of these deals. Sometimes it can be cheaper to book the same flight in a foreign currency. This is especially true if your home currency has a good exchange rate with the currency you're purchasing the flight in. You do this by changing your regional settings and preferred currency in the search engine that you're using, and or use a VPN to disguise your location. Airlines still sometimes offer last-minute deals to fill empty seats. Although it's not been as common lately post-pandemic, of course, you need to be extremely flexible with your schedule if you're looking to book these last-minute flights, and the deals might not be to your preferred destinations. So if you have some unexpected time off that pops up, or you're just feeling spontaneous, it's definitely worth checking out some flights that are departing in the next couple days to see if anything tickles your fancy. If you enjoyed watching this video, you are definitely going to want to check out 100 of my top airline and airport travel hacks. Give it a watch right there, and we'll see you soon.